When getting smashed in the face with the bright rainbow graphics of the new Sonic Superstars, it's easy to forget that somewhere underneath the bounciness exists one of video games' denser and sometimes darker mythologies. Since its debut in '91, the Sonic the Hedgehog mythos has accumulated no less than a multiverse alongside each realm's respective characters, prophecies, cultures, relics, timelines, and monsters. This juxtaposition between Sonic and his animal friends against the darker tapestry of multiversal mystery has become one of the series' primary identifiers, and there's joy to be found in piecing the cosmic puzzle together. But like we've seen in other long-running properties like the MCU, sometimes the cost for containing such a vast multiverse is the growing need to tell rather than show. Instead of letting a character's actions or the environment do the talking, we get actual talking, as each new story, while brimming with creativity, has sometimes leaned too heavily on voice-acted exposition in order to cut through any misinterpretation of motives or twists or general story direction. But there was a time when the Sonic series sat at the forefront of nuanced visual storytelling. During an era when 2D platformers like Super Mario World, Mega Man X, and Super Metroid were leaning more and more on in-game script to carry any story context, the design team behind Sonic the Hedgehog 3 managed to deliver a story packed with drama without using a single word of text. Sonic 3's opening scene, while only 22 seconds long, travels some serious distance when it comes to setting up the primary components for the story. This cutscene introduces the two good guys, their arrival to the island, Sonic's blue form and super form, which is powered by the 7 Emeralds, which is taken away forcibly by Knuckles, the new antagonist, in a move that showcases his own motive and superpower, ultimately giving the good guys and the player a simple reason to push forward, all achieved with no dialogue. It's one of many examples in Sonic 3 where the creative team attempt to tick as many boxes as possible through the use of animation only. But it's even more impressive when considering just how little time the team had to create it.
What's the password?
Knuckles.
The development story behind Sonic 3 is a famous one. What was initially planned to be one long enormous game featuring 14 zones ended up being split into 2 games in order to hit its $20 million McDonald's collaboration deadline in February 1994.
Sonic 3 Happy Meal.
This split ultimately led to the second half, Sonic & Knuckles, being shipped as a special lock-on cartridge, which when connected with Sonic 3, unlocked the full intended experience. While the approach to production had changed, what hadn't changed was the team's desire to tell a richer story.
When making Sonic 3, I wanted to make a big game and it was scary. We felt that we needed a deeper story to expand the world of Sonic. Adding more of a storyline to this action game made the project huge.
Compared to the more mechanic-focused design documents of Sonic 2, Sonic 3's design notes centered around ideas for more story-based moments, Robotnik crashing into a tree, Sonic jumping up into a flying ship, or the Death Egg taking off. In November 2019, a Sonic 3 prototype was unearthed dated November 1993, only 3 months before the McDonald's deadline and smack bang in the middle of the splitting process. And it's shocking just how incomplete the prototype was so close to the deadline. Levels are half complete, Sonic boasts an old sprite set, and cutscenes are filled with bugs. Even the opening cutscene is nothing like the final version. In the prototype, Sonic arrives by himself on a surfboard before running into Knuckles, who taunts him to chase him. It's a shade of what the final version ended up being in terms of establishing a player character motive, ultimately highlighting the team's dedication to getting a good story implemented despite their impending deadline. But one of the major changes between Sonic 2 and 3 was the inclusion of the new character, Knuckles, who undergoes a journey of transformation throughout the story. As the game's primary antagonist, he constantly derails the hero's momentum, sending them into new areas. But towards the end of the story, a 40-second cutscene plays where Robotnik betrays Knuckles and steals the island's power source, the Master Emerald. Without any dialogue, we watch Knuckles learn of his betrayal, attempt to stop Robotnik, get defeated, and finally switch sides to helping Sonic. In one of the later prototypes before release, this scene runs a bit shorter because it doesn't include this little moment where Knuckles motions Sonic to follow him. It's a subtle change and only adds about 2 or 3 seconds, but this final version, where Knuckles finally shows kindness towards Sonic after tormenting him for so long, is a masterstroke in show don't tell storytelling. But arguably, one of the best parts of Sonic 3's story is the attention to detail when it comes to environmental storytelling, where the design team used the backgrounds to communicate a whole variety of things. One of the biggest moments, of course, is when Angel Island is set alight by an onslaught of strange machines, announcing the presence of Robotnik on the island and forcing the characters to play the rest of the level among flames and debris. After the Death Egg is destroyed and crashes into the top of the island's volcano, the head can be seen peering through the roof as Sonic navigates the volcano's depths. But after Sonic and Tails' journey is complete, the floating island is returned to the sky, kicking off Knuckles' half of the story, and the design team poured time into making sure the backgrounds reflected this change. Where there was once a horizon during Sonic's playthrough as the island sat on the ocean, has been replaced with clear blue skies. Where there was once the face of the Death Egg peeking through the volcano, is no longer there after being destroyed. But a study into Sonic 3's show don't tell storytelling wouldn't be complete without mentioning the mural. During the battle with Knuckles in the Hidden Palace, a mural sits on the wall that foreshadows a Doomsday event between Robotnik and what looks to be Supersonic. This foreshadowing comes to pass at the end of the story, as Supersonic battles Robotnik's machine and takes back the Master Emerald. While this mural in pixel dimensions is one of the smallest art pieces in the game, it's the loudest when it comes to world building. It offered up the suggestion that everything leading up to this point might not have been what it seemed. And in this single moment, the preconceived parameters of the adventure world came crashing down as a new world-building component, something akin to predestination, was suddenly injected into the story. All of Sonic's multiversal mysteries mentioned at the start owe its thanks to this mural, since everything that came after was either an extension of or inspired by this piece of lore. So in the end, Sonic 3 did a lot with a little. Without using any dialogue, it told a story about betrayal, revenge, adventure, prophecies, ancient civilizations, mystical artifacts, and fate. Sonic 3 said a lot without saying a word.